morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Attendance as this, but that's okay.
Spring break, so.
Series in spring break is going to be killer.
Traffic is not as bad, so that's
This week, so I hope you're doing. We actually have slides this week. This is for you. Us, Aaron, our email addresses.
it's funny. I think I know, so I don't know who's over there. Anyway, I don't need to do much.
We invite enough, right?
Works for me.
Okay, next meetup. 14th, which is next Thursday. Kathy's meetup. We're going to be wrapping up WordCamp. Lessons learned 2 weeks from today, right here in this room. Aaron will be presenting.
Oh yeah,
I guess I could talk about this one.
Yeah, you could.
I'm basically going to be. How many of you guys use Beaver Builder?
We do.
We do.
Now you do.
Well, we haven't used it yet. We bought
You
it.
haven't used it? Okay.
We
Yeah.
played with it.
So I've learned a lot by comparing 7 of the page builders, and Beaver Builder is by far my favorite. And I probably will start off kind of explaining why Beaver Builder, and then I'll start giving examples. And I think most of it is going to be live. You know, here's how you do stuff, and here's why you use it, and all the features. So there's a quadrillion features. So, and then this one.
And then within 3 weeks, Vicky's meetup.
Yep.
That's a business meetup. Want to tell us about that?
Inbound marketing and automation. So drip campaigns and tracking users and all the fun stuff you can automate there. We've been playing with a bunch of those tools now. So, yeah.
That's your favorite thing, right?
Playing with tools, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so,
You have a degree in it, right?
I wish.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. I
but he
should.
could teach a course in it, and he does.
There you go.
Micah Wood and I are doing a development workshop, a paid development workshop, May 13th and 14th. For more information, tutorwp.com/workshop. So, and day 1 is theming, kind of like what we're doing in this series, but it's going to be a lot more moving a lot faster with a more step-by-step how to do all that stuff. And then the second day, Mike is doing hopefully 100% of the plugin development stuff. But he's also doing an introduction. There's going to be about 3 hours of introduction to PHP, which is probably going to be beneficial for a lot of people. So check that out.
Why are there 2 different prices?
You can do both days or one day.
Gotcha. Cool.
So I just figured some people might not want to know how to do plugins.
Yeah,
they,
that makes sense.
Or someone might already be theming, but they don't do plugins. So we figured we'd give them the options.
Cool.
So
I like
I'll let you talk.
it. Yeah, it's a Friday, Saturday.
Aaron,
Yes.
I should have an answer to your question later today.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, let's talk afterwards. I don't. It's that weird.
I don't know either until 2 o'clock, and then I'll know, because there's
Oh.
a meeting.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough. So, all right, for today, if you guys, how many of you guys have been going to this series? Thanks, Mickey. So, okay, so how many of you guys are trying to follow with code? No one is going to be, all right, so it's more of,
Well, maybe someone in the audience is.
I will ask them online. Let's see. So I will just be, I guess, just try to follow. Hopefully, you'll be able to read the code that's on the screen. So, and want me to hand it over to you?
Sure.
All right.
We were going to review what we've already done. Do you have the files called up? We started out with the 2 basic files, index.php, style.css. And in the last 2 sessions, we created our header, footer, sidebar, and our functions.php. So we have the basis of the site now. We have a very basic site that can do a lot of stuff.
All right, I'm gonna just step through these files real quick.
Okay.
I think most of you guys will be able to follow this. But, okay, so index.php, to start a theme, you need two files, index.php and style.css. Here we're calling in header, and at the bottom we are calling in footer. Header includes the title, which is pulled from the database, obviously, and then we have the most important snippet of code that goes in header is WP head, which calls in all of your styles and JavaScript and all the stuff that all the plugins will need. If you remove that, chances are the plugins you have, it won't work. So,
And a lot of WordPress functions won't work.
right.
And that pulls in from core, is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a core function.
And that's very similar.
I missed your comment, when you said a lot of what?
A lot of WordPress things will not work properly if you don't load WP head.
Of theme.
That's
Things, yes,
Okay.
not themes.
Things.
But one of the things is a
Is it
theme.
a theme?
So,
Yes.
Okay.
And then footer's the same way. We have WP footer at the bottom, and with WordPress, you can load things in the header or in the footer. I would say it doesn't matter, but sometimes it does. And some plugins will load things once the page is rendered and loaded, and that's in WP footer. It'll call in the JavaScript that they need, stuff like that. So those are the files. The index.php has the loop, which calls in.
Loopy stuff.
Oh, I'm sitting here, I'm like, where's my code? There we go. So it's doing the loop, which calls in the post information, the title, and then the content, which you'll see all throughout WordPress. Functions.php is pretty important because we call in, right now we're using Foundation, which is Zerb, and I will, let's see, Zerb Foundation. If you need documentation on Zerb, it is on foundation.zerb.com. You can Google it too. But we are calling in, all we're using right now with Foundation is their minimized version of their CSS, and it allows us to have a row and then columns. So it's a 12-column grid system, and it allows us to do stuff like you tell the div to use columns and use small 8. So, and I'll show you what that does over here. We have this 8 stuff on the left here is using 8 of the 12. On the right, where we have our sidebar, we're using 4 of them. And we can do really fancy stuff. For example, I'm going to change this where on small, I'm going to change. Interesting. Give me 1 second. I'm not sure why PHP Storm is freaking out. Hit OK, see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to change this to on small, do 12, on medium, and up, use 8. And over here, I'm going to change the sidebar to call in 12, and on medium and up, use 4. I'll show you why. This is why I use a grid system. I can take this. So right now it's still using medium and up, but when we get to small, how about I refresh the page? I gotta refresh the page. Okay, so that should, okay, see how the sidebar is right here now. Obviously it's hard to tell the difference, but so that's how we deal with mobile columns. And it goes, there's small, medium, large, I think there's a extra large and an extra extra large. So when designers have massive screens, we can even make it do different stuff at really high resolution. So
I have a question.
And the breakpoints for those are set within the.
yeah, the breakpoints are, if we go to media queries, it shows us what they are. There is a extra large for it somewhere, but anyway, that's why one reason I use Foundation, because it's documented, so it's a whole lot easier to find things. So yes, April.
Okay, so when you're calling it in, you say you're calling in the styles from Foundation?
Yes.
Where do you have that? Are they calling it out from externally, or do you already have that in your files?
So some people will use a loaded something like that from a CDN, but it actually slows your connection down when you use a CDN. If you're only pulling it down from one server, so I'll see people load jQuery from this and CSS from this, and it winds up slowing things down. So you probably want to have it on your local, like where your theme is.
Okay.
And we're calling that in right here in our
Okay.
functions .php. So we're doing normalize, and I always use normalize because it will normalize things like the H1, H2, H3. So
Okay.
it'll reset where on Chrome and Firefox and whatever the other ones are. I'm sure there's other ones out there, but no one uses them. Just kidding.
But you don't keep it under in where your footer and your header and all that, those files are. Where do you keep those files that you're pulling from?
Oh, they're in right here in the CSS directory.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, maybe I was making
If you
it
scroll
more
over a little
complex.
bit, you can show her the path. It's in the functions. Now scroll over a little bit.
Oh, to the right?
Yeah, that shows you
Okay,
where they are.
so this
Okay.
function here gets the template or where the theme is, and then it's just appends the CSS directory and then the file name.
Okay, all right.
So,
Thank you.
and that is the correct way to do it, and a lot of people don't do that. They'll just plop it in header.php, and it's drives me insane. So, all right.
Good to know, thank you.
One other note about external files, if you're tempted to use like jQuery or something from the actual jQuery site, the problem with that is if that gets updated, it might break something. So you want to keep local copies of all your scripts.
And that you would put jQuery in your CSS folder as well, if you kept a local copy
Well,
of that
jQuery is
stuff?
not a good example because it's really best to use the copy that comes with core.
Okay,
But other types of universal scripts that you can link to their site to get the most recent version is just not a good idea.
okay.
It's a good idea to download it and keep a local version.
Cool. What's our next step? We've got notes. So that's the update or
Wanna
the
go through?
review,
Well, okay, we also have sidebar.
which is doing nothing.
Well, it says this is sidebar.
Yeah. Yep.
Something.
Yeah, it's something. So
Okay, so that, everybody kind of understands where we are. We have the basic site, right? Okay. Next thing we're gonna look at is creating custom post types.
how many of
Are
you
you
guys?
excited?
There's a plug-in for that.
There is. So what plugin would you use to do that?
I forgot what it's called, types.
Types?
That's one of them.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't do that, I send
And,
Diana.
well,
Yeah, you type yours.
here's the issue with that. What happens if you ever uninstall types or your client does? Guess what?
It all blows up.
Your content's gone.
Yes,
Or
All those
perhaps they
hours of
update it and
work.
change the syntax a little bit.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, that would blow things up too.
Exactly.
Literally.
So, it's a little more secure if you create your own.
yes.
And creating simple ones is very easy.
What we normally do, we meaning Sideways 8, we will have a plugin that we use to create all those custom posts. In this example, not going to do that. I'm just going to put it in the theme, which is kind of somewhat a no-no. But I want to do it just so I can so I can explain archive and singles, and I'll explain
Page
that
templates.
in yeah, page templates. So I like to cheat, and I go to generate WP. Post type generator. So for you guys that are online, generatewp.com. Scroll down, and I use post type generator. And you can actually, if you have an account, you can save these snippets. And I'm going to change the function name to theme from scratch because you want to prefix everything. Staff custom post. I'm just going to create a staff one because most sites that we do, they need that capability. So this will be theme from scratch, staff. And so this is the post, basically what will be saved in the database. It'll normally, what's in the database by default is page or post, and then if you have like the events calendar pro in there, it'll be called event. So single post type, staff member, members, menu name. I'm not going to name all of these because normally you would do add new staff member or something to that effect. We all know WordPress enough, or should at this point, where you will understand how to change these things. I'm going to hit update code. And so it generates this function with all of the awesomeness that we need. So I'm going to copy this. I guess it's already selected. Copy that. And this is a function. Where do functions go? Functions.php. First, let me go over here.
Now, yeah, that's one place I
Right. Well,
can go. Yeah, I know.
yeah, for this case, yeah. So right now, we don't have a staff custom post, but if we go over here, paste that in, hit save, go back to the admin. Yeah, I guess that's readable. Somewhere over here it'll show up. So here's staff. Add a new staff member.
Oh, Aaron's typing. So Mickey, if I were doing that in Genesis, would I do it in functions.php or someplace else? Or I should be asking Ashley?
Ashley, I'm looking at Ashley.
Yeah, I usually do it in a plugin, but if you're gonna put it in the then yes.
Yeah, same as what Aaron's saying.
Well-
Ideally put in a plugin, but if we're just showing, then yeah, functions works.
Yeah, here's the thing. If you put it in your functions file and the theme changes,
Correct.
it's gone.
Yeah, that's why. I
And
said
all the
plugin.
content is gone. That's why better to create a plugin, which you know how to do. It's really simple. You just take this and you put the header on it and you got a plugin.
Well,
And then
given
it
that
survives the theme
Creating a
change.
staff directory is how much to do this for us.
Okay.
I've got a really good plugin to do that.
Do what, I'm sorry?
I have a really good staff plugin that you can use. So it's not in the repository, but because I don't want to support it.
I know where to find you.
Yeah, yep. All right, so,
Put it in my Slack channel.
what?
Send me a link in Slack,
Okay.
please.
All right, so I've created a staff member, which is me. Let's go view it. Awesome. Why isn't this working?
Can anybody tell us why it's not working?
Is it permalinks?
It normally would show up 404 though, wouldn't it?
Huh?
If it was the permalinks, would it show up 404?
I don't know.
I think I'm just not calling it in, so let's see.
Well, I know that the single and archive pages don't show up.
You were right, permalinks.
Yeah, there's a few in there.
WordPress didn't know about the post type.
Yeah,
And
when
so,
you do post types or taxonomies, you have to update the permalinks every time.
and that doesn't mean
The
you
reason I
have,
know that is because I forget it every time.
right.
So you just go and just hit save again, right?
No, you don't even have to do that,
You just
because,
visit the page.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
This-
saying
okay.
it's safe, okay, interesting.
Yeah,
Every time you open the permalinks page, it rewrites your permalinks, your HT access file.
Yeah, I was saying, I was
Just
wondering
learn
to save,
something.
You
yeah.
don't have to sign it.
Very cool.
yeah, I didn't have to do that.
I noticed you didn't right there, like,
Yeah.
yeah, so, very cool.
Yeah, I used to, I don't know if something changed, but I remember having to hit save twice sometimes.
Huh.
I don't know if to flush it or what, but now
Just open it.
you don't need to do that, yeah, just
Cool.
open it. So that's an extremely boring page, but,
It could be exciting if we read Latin.
what?
It could be exciting if we could read Latin.
If you read
Right.
Gibson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what lorem ipsum is?
It's not Greek stuff you put on your website.
It's Latin,
Latin.
but you know it's from a play, so it's real Latin. So some people think it's gibberish, but anyway, what are we going to do? We've got a
Okay, we have our custom post type. Now, how do we display it? How do you add another person to the staff? And then we're gonna look at how you would actually display the staff list. Anybody have an idea how to do that?
Grid.
You have to create a custom archive page. With posts, with any kind of post, if you have a list of them, it's called an archive page. For when you have a custom post type, you can either use archive.php, or in this case, you probably want to have them, you want them to display a little bit differently than your normal posts. So we want to create a page, an archive page for the staff. And that leads us to the template hierarchy.
I can never spell it, so there we go.
There we go.
I'm sure that's
That's the one now. So we want an archive page for a custom post type, which is number 3. And so we're going to create a page called,
trying to find.
right there, archive-posttype.php. And our post type is that TFS _ staff. So with many themes, you'll start with archive.php and just change and copy it and change the name and change your styling. This one doesn't have an archive, so we can start with index.
I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
So I was going to go. So if we look at the hierarchy, we want to create archive
You wanna create that
dash,
page, right?
and then so archive dash. So now we have this file, and so in theory, when we go to the archive of this custom post, which is here, in theory it should be blank, right?
Well, what template was it using?
Oh. I'm sorry?
What template was that using?
It was hitting index.php because we
Oh,
didn't have
okay,
a,
okay.
we didn't even have an archive.php
Right,
in our
right.
thing. So do you guys understand what's happening now? WordPress is really smart, and it goes through the hierarchy and it says, hey, this is an archive. Let's see if an archive in the theme called archive dash tfs_staff.php exists, and it did find one, so it loaded it. If it didn't, it would look for archive.php, and then if that didn't exist, it would hit index.php. So we need to go in here and, you know what, I'm just going to grab from,
Is the name of your custom post type TFS_staff?
Yes.
yeah, because I prefix it. The URL is ugly at this point. So if you guys look here, this is the staff, which, man, that's hard to read, but that's the name of the custom post, and you want it to be unique. A lot of times I see things called staff or event or something like that, where it's real generic, but you know, how many times have you guys gone to the repository and you need something like an events plugin? You're just downloading 3 or 4 of them and testing them. If they don't prefix it correctly, there could be a conflict. It would say, hey, this post type already exists. So if I had labeled it staff and there was another staff plugin, it could. Sorry about that.
I'm very gonna touch it, Peter. I want to talk about that later.
What?
I forgot you were using your phone for that now. So
Yeah.
I want to hear how.
Okay, so, go back to the custom post type.
Totally distracted when my wife calls during a demonstration.
Go back to the custom post type function.
No, because I can't find it. There it is.
Okay.
You want to change the,
Yes, I'm gonna change the,
here, I'll show you. This is why I use this.
I'm gonna
So,
change the one, yes, there you go.
custom
Custom
permalink.
permalink, there you go.
So we can call it,
Call it staff. This is how you make the permalinks pretty.
that's all I need, right?
Yes,
So I hit update, and it adds,
as the rewrite.
This rewrite?
Rewrite.
and so it tells it, hey, on this custom post, let's call it staff, not TFS_staff. So, it's great having Google Fi because you get text and everything on your computer, but when you're in front of people doing that, it's slightly obnoxious. So, I'm just going to copy that code. All right, paste that in. Okay, so I think we're going to have to go to the permalink page again.
Yep.
Because, yeah. So if I go right now to /staff, it's going to say, I don't know what that is, so we go over to our and what do? Go here, we don't have to save it. Hit refresh. Okay, so now that looks like it's in the worst case, but it's because we're loading a template or a page that has nothing in it. But now it's hitting the staff
Yeah, it's
URL
looking at
as
staff.
opposed to TFS_staff. So now we're going and make, I'll start closing some of these here. So let's make the archive do something. And I'm just going to grab the code from index.php as my starting point for my custom layout. So, and I'm going to put this in here and just say, this is, oh, you guys probably can't see that. This is the custom staff. So, saving that, I'm going here and refreshing. And so you can tell that it's doing that. So let's say we want to, I'm gonna remove that since I've proven that it's loading that template. And we could do something, I keep wondering where my loop went. It's keeps hiding for me. So let's say we don't want to display the whole the content. We can change it to do the excerpt. So in theory, this will display the first, what's the default? Like 50?
55.
Okay. Hit refresh. And so now we're just calling in the excerpt versus all of it. So we can be really cool in here. And so your archive page, like your blog, might look like this, but we want to show the featured image, or we want to style this uniquely. So we can go in here. You guys familiar with, well, I'll go ahead and explain it. So we know that because we're using a custom post, it appends things. For example, post dash type dash archive dash TFS underscore staff. So we want to target that specific CSS class. I'm going to go over here to style that CSS. I'm going to tell it on the body, on this post type, and only on this post type, we want, so used to
Change background color.
SAS.
Change the background color to.
I'll make the H1s
or
different.
something.
We'll make H1s where they have a, change the color to this and hit save. So you guys follow that? Let's change that to something more readable or noticeable. That's okay. So this is where you want to talk for 1 second?
Okay, so we changed the color only on this page. I'm not sure what else. Here. We can look at, this is a strange mouse. We didn't change it on anything else. So. Wow. Weird mouse. I don't like that. I don't know how
Okay.
to work his mouse.
Sorry.
But at any rate, we changed it just on that one page.
All right.
And we now have an archive page just for staff members. That would be your staff directory.
So I'm
Now,
gonna
what
go.
hap- Go ahead.
I was gonna say, let's sorry. I want to do this. I always forget how to do this.
What are you trying to do?
I'll show you.
The thumbnail?
Yeah, I'm gonna do
The
thumbnail.
thumbnail.
So
It exists, the thumbnail.
yeah, I'm gonna upload a picture to me first. Of me first. Add new. Nope, I don't want to add new. Hit edit. I go to.
You didn't have.
Oh, I don't have support for the featured image.
Thumbnails.
Where is that?
No, it's under options.
it's title, excerpt,
Content,
where's content? Oh,
page attributes.
where's the page
You
item?
did?
Where's the featured? Oh, featured image.
Featured image.
Sure. I'm gonna hit update code, copy, functions. Save.
There's really good documentation for what each of those things means in the codex too. A lot of them are self-explanatory, but some of them are not.
So now a featured image option should show up. Should have. I said should
So you did you put a featured image in the part?
have. That's what I'm trying to do, I can't.
Supports thumbnail there. I don't know.
Screen option, maybe? I don't know why it would hide
No,
that.
no, that's right. Just reload it.
Um,
Shouldn't have to be terminals to do that. It's weird.
Give me just one more minute, and I might just move on, but that's just confusing.
What you were just looking at, is that the code that you copied or the code where you copied it? That's what you copied, but where's your, show me the functions.
Which is,
Secret copy?
so what we're looking for is this right here.
Yeah.
Is thumbnail.
Right.
It should be supporting that, but it
It
is
should be.
not.
When I hit a problem like that, I usually call Aaron, so.
Yeah. It's really strange. Is it? Give me just one more second. This is gonna drive me crazy. Well, I was gonna show you guys, and I don't want to spend 10 minutes debugging this. This is just a good example of why you might want a custom post to display that information, but when it's a staff group or staff, you're going to want to show the person's picture and link to it and stuff like that. But this is how you do it versus if you don't have this specific file called archive TFS staff, then you're not going to be able to customize that. But this, so if you have an event plugin and you want that to have a different layout than the other archive pages, you can do that by creating archive-event.php and load it. So
Right.
I'll get
And
that
And
fixing.
chances are with any custom post type, you may have special additional fields, additional metadata that you want to display as well. So that's, and the same logic holds through for single dash TFS _ staff. You probably want to style that differently than just a single post.
What do you want to do?
Okay, you want to show them how to take that code right there and make a plugin out of it? So you don't lose all of that hard work once the client decides they want a new theme?
This will be fun.
Okay.
A lot of people, you'll see in plugins, they put an index.php file in there as the main plugin. I don't do that because there's too many index.php files within WordPress. So if you accidentally drag the file over or something and you override it, that's a problem. So I just call That'll be the beginning.
And the name of the directory and the name of the file are completely irrelevant to WordPress. It cares not what you call them. What it looks for is the header.
Yep. You have an example, so I don't sit here and look like a total fool? Or can you do it? Do I write a plugin?
PHP, open PHP. Plugin name.
So we're doing this, like
Yeah,
that.
plugin name. Give it a name. That's really all you need.
That's all we need.
Yep.
We don't need,
You don't need, well, you can put all kinds of information, versions and author, and you should put all that stuff, but you don't need it.
I do actually put an index.php file in there for security purposes. So,
That does nothing.
and I don't ever do a closing PHP tag on files. All right, so now we have a plugin. So in theory, is that all we need?
Well, yeah.
No, I know we're not doing.
Oh, okay, got it.
I know we have zero functionality in there. So,
Okay.
so there's our
there it is.
plugin. You hit activate.
And we have just created a plugin.
It
That
does.
does nothing.
That
does
absolutely
nothing. That'll drive
But it's
someone crazy.
activated.
So it's activated.
You should
So
put like 10 of those in every client's site.
WordPress comes with one on every site, so.
Well,
that's
Stupid
true.
Hello
You
Dolly.
can't even
Hello,
tell what
Dolly.
it's supposed to say, does it start with hello?
All right,
Well,
so
you know what, for the first year after I started using WordPress, I thought it was cute. Now I don't see it anymore, so.
I do. Well, I don't see it for long, like delete is the first thing
Yeah,
I do.
well, yeah, I do that too.
all right, so I'm sorry, I'm not explaining what I'm doing. I'm going into functions.php. I snagged all of the code that's related to the custom post, and I went. Now I'm going into my plugin that I wrote, pasting it in right here. Hit save. I'm going to deactivate, although I'm not de-ripped. Let's see what happens.
I don't know what's gonna happen, it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
I've never actually done that before. It's gonna keep the stuff though, because it's named the same. It
Right.
didn't delete it from the
I'm gonna-
database,
do permanents real quick.
which I think is really functional.
All right, I'm going to deactivate this staff here, it should disappear. Okay, it did. And we hit activate, and over here should be staff again. I didn't know we were going to write a plugin. That was intense. All right.
New experiences, is what it's all about.
So, you guys understand why we did that? So we don't lose the custom post. So, and this is a good segue into me complaining. It drives me nuts. You'll see these themes that you get on Theme Forest and stuff like that, where it has a slider built in, it has staff, it has everything, and the client thinks they found the best plugin and they really like that functionality, and then they want to change it. They want to go with a different theme. Then they've lost all of the custom posts, all the slides, all the functionality, and all that stuff, and that's why I'm really picky about separation between code, or plugins and themes. So
Right.
it wasn't that much complaining.
No,
That's good.
well, we all have the same complaint, and if you don't trust your client, or you just don't want to confuse your client, then you move that plugin to MU plugins, and then they won't even see it.
I'll show
And
you
they
guys
can't
that
deactivate
real
it.
quick. It's kind of off of the theme from scratch
Well,
topic,
yeah.
but
But it's a good point, because we all have clients who just like to go in and they mess stuff up because they click the wrong things.
you guys how many of you guys use the MU plugin directory?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? All right, I'm just going to show you what.
Must use.
Yep. So we hit new, hit directory, MU-plugins.
Try to give them access not to see plugins anyhow, so then it doesn't matter, but.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Sometimes you can't
I do
escape
that
it, so
too,
yeah.
I hide pages from them, but this is a good way, because clients are never gonna figure this out.
Right.
So you go in, I'm dragging, drag the right thing.
I think so.
Oh, line.
No, I don't think that's what
Don't you just
They
create a
cancel.
directory called MU?
Yeah, somehow it grabbed the wrong
you.
one.
I'm sorry?
You just create a directory called MU.
MU-plugins.
Where am I? WP content. Oh, that's what. Plugins. MV theme from scratch /MU. Sometimes it's just easier. Okay. So I moved the plugin into this directory, and now
It won't work.
what won't work? Oh yeah, forgot. Okay,
Because there's a funky thing about MU plugins. It won't read subdirectories. It'll only read the main directory.
is this a I forget how to do this. Do we put index.php in there? Is that what it's looking for?
No, you just need to move the TFH staff.php out of the main directory, out of its, or you need to put a file out there that links to it.
Why is that? Any idea?
The original functionality of MU plugins was for multi-user,
Right.
and I don't know why, is the answer.
Cool.
I don't know. But it won't
Right.
read. So if you have like a complicated plugin with a lot of files, you put them in a directory, but then you still have to put
Index
an
that like
index
fired
that
off.
directs it to there, because it will only read the main directory.
I don't do this often. So okay, so
Why
this.
is there a dot there after plugin?
Oh, because it appends. Oh, no, sorry, it goes there. Sorry.
Isn't that these brackets there? That's weird. I would think that would be a function, but maybe not.
All we're doing is
Okay.
loading, telling it to run
Yeah,
this file.
yeah,
so
I know
it
that.
should be-
I'm just surprised it's not a function that requires brackets.
Okay, so it's there. WordPress by default looks for any kind of PHP file within MU-plugins. And so I created this one called must use load, and so it's going to load. If I wanted to add another plugin like the Event Calendar Pro or something, I can put that plugin in the MU directory and then tell it to require that file, and it'll load it. And the client doesn't have the ability to delete it, remove it.
Because it doesn't
Stuff
show
like
up under plugins.
Yeah, so
They
if
don't
we
even
list,
know it's running.
that's right, install plugins, nothing. So,
There we go.
simple enough.
Simple enough.
Questions? Answers? No? Alright.
Okay. Functions. Want to talk about functions? Well, it's 12:25.
5 more minutes and then, what do we want to do with functions?
Add some functions.
Add some functionality to the theme.
Sure. Well.
Oh, we can do the page template. So,
Oh, yeah.
the
Yeah,
hierarchy.
yeah. Okay.
I'm going to talk kind of on the fly here about the hierarchy. How many of you guys use the hierarchy to load certain page layouts? Cool. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go hit add new and do a PHP file, and I'm going to call it page dash about dash us. And so back to the hierarchy, if you guys, let's say you need a featured image, not a featured image, but you need some kind of content to show up on the About Us page, you first go and create that page. You add new.
Good example is if you want to run a script or do some kind of custom programming or add widgets in the middle of the page or something that you can't do in this editor. That's one of the best cases for doing a custom page template.
All right.
Thank you for correcting that.
Yeah.
It would have driven me crazy.
Why is this a problem? Okay. Anyway, hit publish. What are you guys gonna see when I view this page?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. All right, good. So the About Us page, let me explain it real quick. I'm going to change this to just, oh, sure I am. I'm going to go over here because that's where I'm more comfortable.
Just turn it to about
There we go.
page B1 or something.
I'm going to move or change page to page law.php. Okay, so we refresh. WordPress by default is going to go and say, hey, give me a page.php. Or actually, it first looks for page-about-us.php. If it doesn't find that, it'll load page. If it doesn't load, or if it can't find page.php, it'll load index.php. And so,
Actually, first it will look for page dash, the ID of that page first, before the slug,
right, okay.
if you want to get technical.
Don't get technical. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back and change that. So I just wanted to show you that it actually works. So now when we move page-law to page-about-us.php, and we refresh, it's going to load this page that is totally empty. And so we're going to go over to our index. We're going to copy that, close that, close that, close that. Put that in the About Us. And so now it's going to load page-about-us. And basically what it's actually looking for is the slug. If that, so, show you real quick. So the About Us page, if you look right here, it's looking for whatever that's labeled. So if we change this URL, it won't load the about-us.php. So, but now we go back. I don't know if we want to put anything unique in there or
Put
not.
something unique on it so you
Okay.
can prove that it's loading that.
Okay. So if a client wants something unique on that page, but you don't want it on all the other pages, that's a good example. So you could put a slider in here, even though I hate sliders, something to that effect. So, what else?
Okay, now what if we wanted to create a layout that we wanted to use on more than one page? We wanted something specific, maybe it's a different sidebar, maybe it's no sidebar. What if we wanted to create a page that didn't have a sidebar? And we wanted to use that on more than one page. It wouldn't make sense to make a whole bunch of page files. Instead, we make, actually,
Page-folder.
yeah.
WP query,
I'm sorry,
a query is also,
no.
additional line.
Yes, page dash full width would probably be the name, but how would that be different from this? We'd have to add a header to it to tell WordPress that it's a template.
Oh.
And then it will show up in your list of templates under page and template name.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's template dash name, I think. Or template name. Oh,
You might be right.
I think it's page, not template dash.
no, I think it's template name,
Yeah, it
yes.
is template name.
Yeah. And that makes it available for you to use under your templates for any page you want to.
So now we tell it to use the full width one, and it's empty. Shocking.
Right.
And so I'm gonna go to, once again, index, copy all of that, go into the full width template.
Just take out the sidebar.
Yeah. And tell it to use all 12 columns. And then kill the sidebar. And so this is what it'll, well, actually,
Yeah.
okay, it already saved it, so. Does that make sense?
Are you
No
completely
one nodded.
confused, or everyone is following, or we passed what you care about?
This is
It's
awesome.
an option. Okay, that's all we have. Do you have questions? Anyone?
You know what we should do is have people that are following send us Slack messages with questions.
Yeah, we should.
That'd be fun.
Mhm.
So,
They're not, is there no Periscope, or they're not put post your questions?
I don't know.
I have no
I'm not
idea.
watching Periscope.
I don't even know how Periscope works.
I don't either.
There were a few people on it earlier.
Can they send
Yes.
questions?
Yes, they
Has
can.
anyone sent a question?
No,
Not
Oh,
today.
okay.
They have in the
not
past.
today. They have in the past sent like comments or questions.
Oh, okay.
Probably Micah Wood saying that's not how you do it, Aaron. So, but.
I have every specific question for this task that I need to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can go ahead and like cancel this and move on to, I like to have some kind of open forum, you know, drill me with questions.
Well, this kind of goes back to your staff, the AP. When I need to do it, and I do have some code already for it, but I've got it set up so that you've got the featured image showing, and then when you hover over it, the page title shows in the center. If I wanted that page title to drop down below, where would I look for it in that code? But so far, I can't see it for looking.
It's probably a script that's doing that.
Is it, yeah, is it CSS that's doing that, like CSS3 on hover, or is it using JavaScript to do that?
Well, I mean, a combination. Some of it's, well, it's JavaScript.
You wanna bring it over?
You
Bring your
need to
laptop
look
over
at-
here?
Need to look in the script.
Okay.
You have it
Or I
under,
can come over there and look?
We can do that afterwards, because I need to pull it up and show you where it is and find
well,
it.
I think we're close to afterwards, so
Okay.
if nobody has anything else, I
I
think
was
we're.
looking, but that answers my question in large part, because I was looking in the wrong place. I wasn't going back all the way to the screen.
Yeah, I mean,
Because this is not something Kathy wrote.